Hi you, the topic of today's video is self-protection or self-sabotage. I haven't gone yet into the backstory of how I find myself divorced and single. That is a story for another much longer time, but needless to say, it was the opposite of civil. It was nasty and soul-crushing. So yeah, we'll save that one for another time. Now, since my divorce, I've had some, let's say, dalliances. I've also had a nearly 2-year relationship, so kind of cover the spectrum there. And I also recently had a 4-month relationship where the guy did what, you want a person to do that you're interested in. He was consistent with his, texting, setting regular dates, showed interest, but then a week after we had a conversation where we established that it wasn't casual, we weren't seeing other people, a week later he calls and says, "I think you want more than I do." Yeah, that threw me for a loop. Now fast forward, and I've recently had a couple of dates with 2 different guys who, and I'm just gonna kind of generalize their statements as if it's one person, but saying things like, "I had such a fantastic time," "You're amazing," their words, not mine. "I would like to see you again. I have an idea of what I want to do on the next date." One guy who actually doesn't live in the city that I live in said, "You're a hard person to pass up." And, my first instinct, you would think, would be, wow, how refreshing to have met a couple guys who aren't trying to play it cool. They are showing interest. They, again, are following through, and maybe they actually are capable of showing and talking about some initial, at least, thoughts and feelings. Instead, my reaction is to be like, okay, whoa, buddy, are you an anxious attacher? Are you love bombing? What's the deal? Is it surface level and you're just kind of interested in the idea of me? So my instinct is to close myself off and put up walls that I've built since my divorce, just in case they are love bombers or avoidants who in 4 months are going to say something like, "You tick all the boxes, but I'm not sure my feelings will grow." Now, conversely, for the guys that I've dated who are far less effusive and forthcoming, and again, at least their early thoughts and feelings about me, that instead draws me in. It's like I need to show and prove just how great I am to them if they're not seeing it and letting me know. I did a lot of therapy after my divorce, and I've had a number of personal and professional experiences since then that have built up my confidence after it was really rocked and essentially torn down with my divorce. But clearly I've got more work to do so that I don't overanalyze so quickly and early on with guys and potentially knee-jerk reject some possibly good matches. I'm curious, have you ever felt this way after relationships that are either serious or less serious really rocked your confidence? And what have you done to try to build it back up? Let me know.